Love stories. Love.
Yeah, because this is supposed to air on Valentine's Day, which is the holy day for me.
So I'm
Yeah,
interested to hear, Carl of Sweden, how did you come to meet your beautiful bride all those years ago? Tell me the story.
Oh, so I take it that age goes before beauty, and I have to start.
Well,
Yeah,
possibly.
So, well, actually, when we were talking about this Daniel, this Swedish Daniel, his brother was the matchmaker. Like a little, he was kind of whenever I was like whining about being alone or whatever, he was like, Sarah, because he was in like a Bible school with her at the time. She's single, I've heard. And whenever, and I heard this later, then whenever she was kind of whining about, there's no good man or whatever, he was like, I know this guy. You're single. It's a long story. I met her at some occasions and didn't really think much about it. But I was kind of a weird guy. So she noticed me, I think. She was a normal girl, so I didn't really notice her the same way. She said like the first or the second time we met was at a metal concert, and because my friend was introducing us to each other, and so I went down on one knee, took her hand, didn't kiss it because I thought that was too much, and said, "My lady."
Ooh, oh man.
But that's not. Then it took some time, and we met in different places, and I started writing letters to her when I was in the military. It's a strange thing because I was kind of, my head was in it before my heart, and that's unusual for me because my head was in it in the way that I was like, I like her, and but the feelings were like on hold.
Yeah.
I think because I kind of put them on hold years ago. And I was like, there's something wrong with me because my heart is not pounding as it should with this woman, because that's a fine woman,
Yeah.
But then it just came with a vengeance. I was lying in the sofa one day, and by then my head was all the way in it, and then it just crashed down. And I could hardly walk,
Ooh.
Yeah, it was a very strange, like if you like you're holding back, or you're pulling a bowstring.
Yes.
You pull it longer and longer. When you finally loose. Yeah, that was happened.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. And and I was, have you ever heard the song Daughter of the King on our most unknown demo?
If I have, I probably have. I just didn't realize that was the name of the song. So I'm bad about that.
So it's kind of about her, but before I knew her. it's about like the daughter of the king, you know,
Yes. Yes.
like the ideal. And I started when I was writing those letters to her in the military. I was making poems about the daughter of the king, but I didn't I didn't say who it was.
Yes.
And I was not really when I started, I didn't really know either, but it kind of, you know,
Yes.
came. Pilgrim had this gatherings called the Autumn Feast. When his parents were away over the weekend, and he invited the scene to his house, and it just grew.
Oh man.
One time, and this is a normal house, bigger than mine, smaller than yours, from what I. And he's one of the years, like the last year before it kind of imploded because it just blew out of proportion. He had 103 people as guests in
Yes.
that house. He is. Yes, but I think this year we were like 20, 57 or something.
Yeah.
And she was there, and I was there, and she kind of, you know, we were talking, and she took a walk around the corner. She was going to the ladies' room or whatever, and I when I just turn around, I see Ricky and Jonas, and they are like kids back then, like annoying little brother kids, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of. And this was before we really, you know, before we on the way there, during the letters and the, you know, all the talks and everything. So she walks away, and I turn around, and I see these two annoying little people just like smiling like crazy, and they go, "She's your lady." And I was
that's
afraid
good.
that you would hear that, because that was not, you know, a done deal. And I was like, "Shut up!" And they just,
Oh
I
boy.
never had a little brother, but I had two little brothers at that time.
Yep. Yep.
And she was supposed to come and meet me like the day after I graduated, or whatever you call it, from the military. And I gave her, I have sent her letters that I was like, don't open these until.
Yes.
So she had one to open like on the train, and one to open like on the station before we were supposed to meet in Kalmar.
Yeah.
And she's a woman of honor, so she didn't open them before.
Nice.
But she was kind of irritated and and in one of them was the last of those daughter of the king poems that just revealed right out the like how would you translate the name Sarah in the Bible in English?
Well, it's spelled the same way.
Yeah, but how do
SAR.
you translate the meaning? I know the Swedish word, but I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm not really
like
sure.
Princess, but when I say princess, I think about the little girl, not like a princess in the way that you are married to the prince, the lord of the land.
Yes.
That's not the king. So princess is thy name was one of those to kind of hammer that home.
Yes.
Of course, because she was aware of the meaning of her name.
Yes.
That I don't remember the order of these two letters, but she got the one with that said that like princess is your name, and then the other one was envy, and I think that's my best writing to this day.
Yes.
It was like, it doesn't really translate, you know, because it rhymes in Swedish and all that, but the bottom line was that I envy the ground you walk on. I envy your hairbrush or whatever you like, comb, because you know I envy your pillow because you rest your cheek there. And like that kind of messaging, but in a very poetic, flowing, fine way.
Yes.
So she knew where she had me by the time we met at the station.
Yeah.
But then we didn't really.
That's pretty romantic right there. That's
yeah, and she was, and I was. This is back in the day, so what we call the Viking era, like.
Yes.
So I had a long black cape, so I looked like the Grim Reaper, and a cape that she made for me. I looked like a Nazgul, and I was just standing there, and she was coming, and she had a big bag, and she was like, "Why doesn't that ass not meet me and take my bag?" You know. That was because I had a big bunch of roses under the cape.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
So when she like got like in close enough, I kneeled again, and produced the flowers, and then I took her bag. But then it took a day or two before we, really had the talk.
Yep.
Because it was a very embarrassing, weird situation because my mother's birthday was right around that time. I had all those annoying relatives that like, is this your girlfriend? Like that. And I couldn't say we're just friends because that would be like a slap in the face.
Yes.
But neither could I say, yeah, this is my girlfriend because I think it's up to her to decide if she's my girlfriend or not.
Yeah.
So it was like a day after or something. We were in the park of the Kalmar Castle, and we were just standing there, like drowning in each other's eyes or whatever. At least I drowned in her eyes, and I was I wanted to kiss her, but as I told you, I was a weird guy. One of my hang-ups back in the days was the rules of courtly love, 1186 or something. And one of the rules stipulate that the man does the courting verbally, but the woman take every physical step. And I think that's a really good rule. He tells her where he stands, but he doesn't take where he is standing, but doesn't take anything from it. So we were it was the Cold War there for a while because she wanted me to kiss her too, but she wouldn't. No. I want.
Yeah.
And I think I asked, "Can I kiss you?"
Yeah.
And then she said yes, and then I did.
Yeah.
And then I asked her, "Does this mean that we're a couple? From your point of view, can I call you my girlfriend next time some like weird relative asks?" And she was like, "Yes."
There you go.
So that's how it started, and then it was like we were very sure very fast.
Yes.
That we had a discussion about engagements, like what does that mean to you? And we both are like, you don't ask to be engaged, you ask to be married, and then you're engaged. But some like in the younger generation or even our generation in Sweden, it's like it's its own thing,
Yeah.
We decided to get engaged. No, that doesn't work that way. You decide to get married and then you're engaged.
Yes.
But we were on the same page. So I was asking her, like, yeah, how do you feel about that? And she was like, yeah, it's when the guy asks the girl, because she wanted it that way, to if she wants to marry him, and then you're engaged. Okay. Yeah. So I said, okay, well, it's my job. Then I know. And we'll see how long it takes until I work up the courage to ask that question. And then she just looked at me and said, like, when you ask, I say yes. So I think it was like fairly easy.
Yes.
So that's how it started, and that's how it's been,
Nice. All right. So my story, it's quite an interesting story. It's a fast-paced one. So I was 17. I was in my senior year of high school and wasn't dating anybody, wasn't really looking to date anybody at the time. My sister was getting married in March. We had a foreign exchange student who had lived with us the previous year or two. And she was, yes, from Germany. And she was supposed to come back and be my sister's bridesmaid, like one of the bridesmaids. Well, you know, come up about 6 weeks beforehand, something come up, she can't make it. My sister had started at the grocery store, started working there on the same day as Becca. So they became friends. And then when Anne couldn't make it, she asked Becca to step in Anne's place for a bridesmaid. So they started together. She stepped in. I had met her strangely when I was still dating another girl, the Super Bowl that year. I remember this because I got super sick that day. And I went to my sister's house because they weren't married yet, but they had a house. And we all went over there to watch the Super Bowl, like they were getting it ready. So like, let's go over here and watch the Super Bowl. TV's up and everything. I remember laying on the floor, just sick as a dog. I think I drank too many energy drinks or something. Something wasn't right. But I remember like hearing this woman walk in, like, I don't know, oh, that's Ashley's friend. And I was still dating this other girl at the time. And that very shortly after we were not together anymore. So then when we met, this was in March, this was the weekend of the wedding. So we had the rehearsal and the rehearsal dinner and all that stuff. So I got out of school for those days, and I remember walking into the gas station to get a drink or something like that. And I remember seeing her walk in. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my sister's friend that I vaguely remember from the Super Bowl party. And she had on dark sunglasses and she walked in with this attitude of just swagger. And I was just like, who in the world is that? I mean, she caught my eye like that. And I was looking at her from across the room, just like, wow, just completely starstruck.
Like, and people say that only happens in movies, but
it happened to me. Yeah, it happened to me. Yeah, it was just like, whoa, who is this? And so we got to see each other more over the weekend. We sat next to each other at the rehearsal dinner, and we would poke at each other the whole time, like make fun of each other, and like knowing that we were flirting, you know, like I was like, oh, this girl has a good sense of humor, and she gets what I'm doing, and she's doing it back, kind of like kind of ragging on each other a little bit. But there was a chemistry there instantly. And I thought, I'm 17. I thought she was like 25, but I'm like, I think I'm going to go for it anyway. Like, I asked my buddy, I was like, how old do you think she is? He's like, I don't know. I was like, well, I think she's like early mid 20s, something like that. I was like, I think I'm going to go for it anyway. You know, it can't hurt. I'm almost out of high school. I'm almost 18. So, but come to find out, she was 19. I was just, wow, I was blown away. I was like, I had no idea. We got to talking, and I've come to find out that she had tickets to an Aerosmith concert, and she was going to take somebody, but that person ended up not going. And I was like, aha.
Ended up in an alleyway with broken legs. That's what I've heard.
Possibly, yeah. So this ended up, I was like, aha, here we go. Here's my chance. So I said, hey, I hear you got an extra ticket to Aerosmith. You know, I love Aerosmith, and I would love to go. And so speaker keeps going in and out. You still hear me?
I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I was like, so, this worked out really nice. And so she agreed to take me. And the week after my sister's wedding was spring break. So I was off that entire week. I was able to get a hold of her, and we would talk I can't remember if we talked on the phone or I didn't call her for a day or two after everything. And she was kind of getting worried. And I'm like, well, I didn't know your number or anything like that. This is before like cell phones. Everybody had a cell phone, and you had to call the house. And So we ended up, I called her and we ended up, we went to, it gets a little fuzzy after this. I do remember spending a lot of time together that week when I was off of school. And then at the end of the week, we're down in the basement and we're watching TV and she has to go. And I'm like, okay, well, I go back to school next week. I'm not sure when I'll see you again. And I literally meant, like, I'm not literally sure when I'm going to see you again because I have to go back to school. That's all I meant by it. She thought that I meant that I don't want to see her anymore. Like, I'm done with her. And so she walked away, so totally just brokenhearted. And all I meant was like, I'm going to get a hold of you. I'm just not going to, I have to go back to school and I got to work and everything. So I ended up telling my sister, like, hey, I need to get a hold of her. And so that helped her out. And so I think we went to Wendy's, was our first date. We went out for dinner, like at lunch or something like that. And then we went, a couple days later, we went on a date and we went and saw Dawn of the Dead and went to my uncle's house and visited them. And I didn't kiss her for like a week after we had been like spending all of our time together. And so she's just like, when's he going to kiss me? I'm you know, yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to push on this unless I'm for sure she's okay with it.
Yeah. So you knew the rules.
Exactly.
Without reading. Yeah. The rules.
Exactly.
The rules of course you love.
Yes. Because I'm not a douche. So I'm like, I'm not just going to be the guy that just kisses you on the first date type of thing. That was never me. So, you know, we end up starting to date. And me personally, we spent like every day together. Within 2 to 3 weeks, I knew we were getting married. I knew that she knew we were getting married. And I remember she even told her dad they went out for lunch one day, and this was like within a month of meeting me. And she said, I think we're going to get married. And she said her dad's just put his fork down and said, I think I'm going to be sick. But it worked out. Within 6 months, we were married. And within 2 months, I had a ring. But that was just a formality. We knew we were getting married.
I was a little slower. I took the 6 first months to work up the courage to ask the question that she already said she would say yes.
Yeah.
And then it took another year.
Yeah.
Still 1.5 years, people were like, "Why are you in such a hurry if you know it's right?" And I was like, "Why not? You know?
Yeah.
Why take it slowly if you know it's right?"
Exactly. Yep.
But you know, I know this is laughed at by all the world, but we were waiting, you know, for the marriage. And
yes,
to be honest, that might hurry things up a little.
Of course it does. And of course, I mean, it's natural. I mean, you know, I mean, that's why wait? I mean, you know, why wait 5 years? By that point, you can't wait 5 years. I don't think that's smart or humanly possible. That would be ridiculous, you know.
At the same time, put the sexuality aside. I still think that if you're not sure after 2 years, you'll never be. No. Ever. It's like that, you know.
Yes. If you're going to make a commitment to it, you're going to make a commitment to it, regardless if it's 6 months or 2 years or that, you know, and it's different for every situation. You know. Exactly. And I knew, we both knew, and here we are 17 years later. We've been through hell and high water, but we're still here, you know? So, you know, God has blessed our union.
I actually know a guy who has that in his wedding ring. Through hell and high water. That's the inscription. I got being a Swedish feminist guy, you know, I actually have 2 rings. I was like, I'm as engaged to her as she is to me. So, you know, and also I kind of a pride thing also that, you know, when people, are you engaged? I'm married. You know, I don't want to be confused for one of those engaged people. so we both had 2 rings. So the engagement ring, my ring says, I don't know if we have the same inscription. I think, but my engagement ring says Songs of Solomon 8:6-7. I think set me as a seal, right?
Yes.
I think I got the numbers right, but I know the verse very well.
Yeah.
That's the engagement. The marriage ring just has the war cry of the Templars.
Nice.
Dios vult. It's the will of God.
Yes. Amen.
And it's maybe an unusual inscription for a wedding ring, but I
don't think so. I think that's one of the best you could do.
Yeah, I didn't say it was bad. I said it was unusual.
Yes.
To have the Templars war cry in your wedding ring, but it's what the literal meaning of those words is that God wills it.
Yes. Yep.
And if I didn't think that, we wouldn't be married.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in the same boat. We are convinced that he brought us together at the time that he did so that she would have somebody to take care of her, because both her parents ended up passing on not very far into the marriage. So, I was, and she had nobody else up in Indiana. So I was there to have a family with her. And it's been a blessing. I wouldn't have it any other way. So.
Yeah. So that's fantastic.
And that's why they call me Dr. Love. I actually have on, and I could probably show you her Valentine's Day gift that she got me was underwear with her face on it. Yeah. Right there. And she got those for me as an early Valentine's Day gift, and they're super comfy. Yeah. And it actually says I licked it, so it's mine. So she's marked me. So she got that back to me because I had her turned into a pinup girl cartoon. Yeah, I know. So that was her way of getting me back. So
I remember you were at Wendy's. You said we were so poor. We were dating. It was like we went to McDonald's and split the coffee, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. When we were first married, we lived in a little trailer. It was 300. Yeah.
Trailer.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir. And it was $385 a month. And we were, for us, that was like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. And, we both had full-time jobs, but we made cents on the hour. But we were able to get married and afford things. But we were poor enough, and of course we didn't have kids or much to do. So all we had the money for half the time was tater tots or French fries. We had a little fry daddy, a fryer. So we had mac and cheese, spaghetti, tater tots or French fries, tacos, and then we always had Mountain Dew and cigarettes. We always had our cigarettes. So we were the quintessential trailer park poor. We might not have had a lot of food, but we made sure to have our carton of cigarettes and our Mountain Dew. And we were happy. I mean, that's all we needed right there.
Yeah.
So we were happy, sound as a pound.
However, I remember one time because we were both kind of out of money, but she needed money more, I think. And I was like, and I had a 100. It's like 100 Swedish is like a 10.
Yeah.
So it's not much, but to me, and to her at that time, that was money.
Yes.
So I said, take this. And she would, no, because she's a proud woman. But she's also from Småland. And I was counting on it. So what I did was like, I left it. Well, like I've said goodbye to this. So I just dropped it on the ground and then I walked away. I just knew that she was too proud for handouts, but also too Smålandish to just leave a 10 on the ground.
Yeah.
For some other ass that was needed. you know, some. So it worked.
Well, I remember when we were dating, and I think this was still when my parents kind of knew she was at the house. Of course, we had a walkout basement, so she could kind of, we had a walkout basement, so she could kind of come and go as she pleased. And I lived in the basement. So, and I was out of high school. I had a job. Mom, Dad really didn't bother me too much. They knew I was getting married. They knew we were in love. So they didn't bother us too much. So she would come and go as she pleased out of the basement door. And it was like, I don't know what time it was. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning and she had left. And so she went driving home. We had a horrible bad rainstorm that night. And where we lived, there was a bunch of hills to get back to the main road, and it would flood. So she went going down one of these hills, and it had flooded, and she didn't realize this because she still knew the area. And she was in a little geo-tracker, and she went careening straight into a pond, basically. And she was able to get out of it. She comes back, she's scared. I'm asleep. She wakes me up. I can't get home. My dad's going to kill me. I got to get home. And so I got dressed and drove my little Silverado truck down to the end of the road where the water was piled up. And I started walking through the pond to see how deep it was. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, just to see and make sure that she could get out. And I was like up to my waist, up to my knees or my waist, somewhere in there in water. And like, no, you're not going to be able to get out right now. It's too deep. But I remember I will literally walk through the waves for you. You know, it was one of those kind of romantic gestures that I did. And we still remember talk about that to this day.
I don't even know when I'm going to buy flowers. So it's never, you can never anticipate it. And she is she has kind of a guilty conscience because I court her a lot. and I'm uncourtable myself. I mean, I don't want no flowers, and
yeah,
like, but I never buy anything for you. And I was like, I don't. What I want doesn't come with money.
That's right. That's right.
but still, she. So what do you think she gets me if she wants to give me something that's not herself?
I would say some type of merchandise of like music or something cool. Oh yeah, yes.
she bought this on an auction like a love gift.
That's awesome.
Like, this is the right woman, right? Look at it. It's like, you call that a knife,
Yeah. Oh, that's great. I mean, yeah, so that's how you know.
That's how she gives me flowers.
Yep. Mine, it's normally something along the lines of, like the underwear I showed you, or something. She's very thoughtful. She comes up with things that I never thought of, and I'm horrible at it. Like I'm not a good gift giver. I'm really bad at it. So.
I got this one that she couldn't really afford when she bought it. Too much coffee, man.
Love it.
And it's a wonderful shirt, but I'm too fat to wear it. So it's hanging on the wall.
Yeah. But yeah, she does. That's her love language, is gift giving. Of course, I'm a guy, so mine's obvious. So. But when I do come up with some good ideas, I try and do good at it. It comes up every now and then. I get a little thought, but I'm not very good at it. So, well, I will say this to my final thought on the matter for any younger viewers. I'm young, 35. I'm not old, but I got married young, so I'm an old soul in marriage. I will say this to all the younger folk out there who are contemplating getting married or in the early years of it, stick it out. It takes a long time to work out all the kinks and get things oiled up where they're moving correctly. I mean, it took us over 10 years to get things to where, 10 or 15, really 10, 12, 13, 14 years to get to where we're at now, where she's my best friend. This is the best relationship I have in my life other than God, and I genuinely believe that I used to, when you're young, you go around thinking, I gotta get with my friends to go do stuff. But no, and now you think about, doing stuff with your wife, and that's who you do stuff with.
You're out with your friends wanting to get home to your wife.
Exactly. Yes. And it's worth every tear, every time, all the effort. If you stick it out, it's unlike, and you don't realize it at the beginning, but when you finally get there, it's like, we made it, and it's awesome,
Yeah.
So yep, I think that rounds up pretty good the theme of love and Valentine's Day. So that's the episode of love on Patriot Act's Freedom Radio.
Transatlantic love.
Transatlantic.
From the way up north.
That's
down
right.
to Indiana, over the ocean.
That's right. The stories of that transcend the seas. So, so we'll, till next time, this is Pathos and Carl, Patriot Act Freedom Radio. We love you guys. God bless you guys. Stay metal. See you next time.
The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want for nothing. He makes me lie down in the green pasture. He greases up my head with oil.
Because
He
those
gives me
voices
kung
don't
fu
speak
in the
for the
face
rest
of my
of us.
enemy.
You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery.
Amen.